I mean, I wasn't acting for winning prizes. I was acting because I love it. And I wasn't acting to get rich because I knew you weren't going to do that.
How are you?
Thank you, Tom. I'm very delighted to be here.
It's a great joy to have you.
Yeah. It's I'm happy to be in Canada. I love Canada. I work in Canada a lot, and I'm ready to go home tomorrow.
I was going to say you've been in Canada for an awful long time.
I'm ready to go home tomorrow.
Oh, thanks for coming and thanks for giving us the stop on the way out.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's great.
And you did have a very, very rare Canadian experience in that you just met Michael Bublé in the hall.
Wow.
Nice fella.
I was so afraid to go to the bathroom that I was going to miss him.
Because we spoke to him just before you came.
I know. I was watching,
and he was in the green room. And did you get a chance to talk to him?
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Yeah?
Wow, just fantastic.
So
everything I thought he would be.
Yeah, lovely dude. And this has all been very Canadian for you. The story is very Canadian.
It's very Canadian.
And you're doing all this Canadian press, and it's great. So were you familiar with the story at all?
No, I never heard of it. I knew nothing about maple syrup or syrup. And I when I was told, when I read the script, and it was the great Canadian maple syrup heist.
That's a different heist. That's more of a Texas heist.
Very Texas.
Yeah. The great stirrup heist. I think I watched that last night.
Let me just say, that's good. That'll be the next one I do. I thought it was a joke. I didn't know it was real. And once you hear that it is real, it makes it even that much more delicious.
Yeah. Tell us about your character.
My character is a maple syrup farmer, tough woman, and she is at the end of her rope. She's out. She's furious. She's angry at the man, at the association, and she will do anything to save her husband, to keep him alive, to keep him at home, and she's out of money.
Yeah.
So it's a desperate situation.
What did you like about her? Did you relate to anything?
I like
in her?
that she loves her husband so much that she would do anything. I like that she's a fighter. I like that she's not going to give up until she finds a way out. I like all of that about her.
Can I tell you, this is normally where we'd play a little clip of you talking, but you're pretty foul-mouthed in the...
Oh, it's really bad. I met some people at the airport, and they had 3 little girls with them, and they said, "We're very excited about your new show." And she said, the girls the girls are very excited to hear all about the maple syrup." I said, I don't think so.
They don't want to see that side.
I think you need to wait a little while.
You got to spend a little bit of time in Montreal shooting this one.
Yeah, about 3.5 months. Yeah.
Anything surprise you about the culture there, or anything?
That it's really French.
Yeah, you hadn't spent much time there before.
No, I'd spent some time there.
Yeah.
I'd shot a movie there years ago. I didn't remember that about it. Maybe I wasn't there long enough, but that our whole crew was mostly French. It's such a story about Quebec and all of that world, and it's set there, and it's not a Canada posing as another city. A city in Canada posing as another city.
New York or LA.
Or any of that. Yeah. It's Canada as Canada in the place where this happened, which is very exciting, I think, to see that whole world in a show. I don't know that that's happened.
No, you don't often hear that part of rural Quebec.
That's right.
That story's told, especially in English Canada and in the United States. And your French is pretty great in this too. You had to speak a little French.
Not really. I'm terrible.
Go away. I thought you were all right.
Well, somebody's telling me how to say it.
I thought you were pretty good.
Thanks.
Can I? Let me take forgive me if this is a bit of a stretch, but I'm always sort of looking for these sort of parallels.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Your show.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're from Jacksonville, Texas?
Yes.
What?
Very small town in East Texas, piney woods, big thicket.
Yeah.
Over by Tyler, Jacksonville, little town.
Tomato.
Capital of the world.
Yeah, tomato. A lot of tomato growing around there.
A lot, beautifully delicious tomatoes that you don't find many places, and the high school bowl is the tomato bowl.
So, could you see a parallel between the extremes people will go to keep their legacy of their heritage, of the things that they grow and the things that they make that have lasted them for generations, like tomatoes in your neck of the woods, maybe maple syrup in Quebec. Did you see connections between the way you grew up and the story told in this?
It never crossed my mind, but maybe you've got something there.
You know what I mean, though?
Yes, I do. I mean, boy, but that's a enormous whole world. Maple syrup, a barrel of maple syrup is worth more than a barrel of oil.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't
Unbelievable.
it?
Yeah.
So, many actors come out of your town in Texas?
No.
Talk to me a little bit about falling in love with acting there. Like, was that?
I fell in love with acting in my playhouse in my backyard. Not knowing that that's what I was doing.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
Pretending to be my little Margie, or the head of an orphanage, or a school teacher, or a beautician as a kid. Rounding up all the kids in the neighborhood, cutting their hair. Sending them home to their furious parents, and then in high school I discovered somebody asked me would I come and audition for the musical because I had a loud voice. I was a cheerleader, and I said sure, and I came, and I got the lead of the musical, and that it was over.
What musical was that?
Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh wow! And you were singing, and you were
singing and dancing,
and you enjoyed it.
Oh, I just loved it. It was over. Yeah.
Now, I read when I was researching this interview to get ready for this conversation, I read that you had
scoliosis.
Scoliosis, that's right, and you had to wear a body brace.
Yes.
From do you mind if I ask from how long?
From 7th grade until high school.
Does that influence your decision to want to be an actor? Does that influence the?
I tell you what it did. It gave me a great understanding of empathy. Like when people would see me, they would say, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I said, "You don't need to be sorry for me. I'm fine. You don't need to be sorry." I saw the world from a different perspective then, through that time, because I was 13 years old. And I got to take my brace off when I did pep rallies and football games in 9th grade. And then I got to take my brace off when I went into high school. I got to take my brace off to go to school. And I had to put it on the moment I got home. And I slept in it every night, of course. So, but to begin with, it was 24 hours a day except for bathing.
Is that lonely?
No, you know what? My friends were so kind and sweet to me that I never felt different. I felt different, but I certainly didn't feel left out.
Geez, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it was a sweet message, something that I cherish.
And it also taught you to, I hear what you're saying, is like when people would say, "I'm sorry," they wouldn't have a clear idea of who you really were and the deep.
That's what I'm talking about.
The depth of who you were.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with me.
No, and then you can access that. I was trying to figure out how to attach that to the acting you were talking about.
It's true. It helps tremendously.
Because when you can feel deeply for a character,
that's right.
You can play them a little bit better.
That's true.
So tell me about leaving. Tell me about leaving small town Texas.
Well, my father died when I was in my second year of college. I was going to college in a 2-year college in my hometown, which had one of the most famous acting teachers in Texas. So all the kids from Houston and Dallas would come to this Methodist school. That was a 2-year school.
Yeah.
And then I went to an audition for a scholarship. My father died after that, but I got 22 scholarships to all these schools that were there, and I could go to any state school in Texas free because I was considered. I know this is a wrong word now, but I was considered handicapped.
Right.
So
because of the brace.
Because of the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose University of Michigan because it had Helen Hayes and Jimmy Stewart on the cover. Of course, they had nothing to do with Michigan, but I knew who they were.
They just put them on the cover of the thing? Oh, that's so sweet. And did you take to it like a duck to water up there?
It was a huge school.
Yeah.
My dorm was as big as my hometown. I went there to act, and I'd already had all the hours in acting, and so I just thought, I'm here to act, so I'm just going to take whatever classes I want.
One of the stories I read was that you were a private investigator when you were to supplement your acting career.
I was I was a private investigator during the day, and I was doing the Miss Firecracker contest at night, the one that made Holly Hunter famous.
Right.
Because we weren't getting paid much money.
Yeah.
So I would supplement that with Margo Martindale Private Dick. Yeah.
So hold on, what kind of work were you doing as a...
Mostly telephone work, pretending to be somebody else, trying to find out information from people who
affairs and that kind of stuff?
Sometimes affairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes finding out criminal backgrounds of people who were applying for jobs at different places. Now, some of the other people that worked there, mostly the guys, they got to go out on the street and bust counterfeit rings and stuff like that. One of the people was Newman.
Wayne Knight?
Wayne Knight. Wayne had gotten me the job there.
Wayne Knight was a private investigator?
Yes, he was.
I just want to point this out that Margo Martindale and Wayne Knight were once, Newman from Seinfeld, were once... Private investigators together.
Yeah.
You didn't. You wouldn't be the first actor who's been on this show who was once a private investigator. That's a true story.
Who else?
We have William Stanford Davis. He's on Abbott Elementary. He was a private investigator.
Yes.
And we had this fellow Jeremy Alarder from Prince Edward Island. He's a director here in Canada.
Oh my goodness.
He was also a private.
They liked to get actors in this, it was called McAward Associates.
Yeah.
And they like to hire actors because they could, play other parts.
You could pretend. You
could pretend to be somebody else.
You were working in theater for years before film and TV success came a little bit later in life. You really started hitting your stride in your 50s when you started winning Emmys and booking really high-profile jobs. And I've talked to other actors about this, like June Squibb, for example. She and I have talked about this. And you guys are buddies, right?
She was my next-door neighbor for 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah. And her husband was my husband's acting teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was she as a neighbor?
She's fabulous. I love June. I love her. We just did a whole singing thing for her birthday party, 95.
She has a lot to say about finding a success later in her career.
She's remarkable.
And how it, I guess how it hits differently than if it came right away. Can you relate to that feeling?
Well, I think that you have a greater appreciation for things.
Yeah.
Greater appreciation. And I think it would have been much harder to get it early on and to think you'd made it. It was a better path for me, that's for sure.
Help me understand that a little bit better. I mean, I don't know that world at all.
Well, I think sometimes when people get awards right out of the box, even people who were character actors who that happened to, I think that it takes away the climb, takes away the yearning part. I mean, I wasn't acting for winning prizes. I was acting because I love it. Yeah. And I wasn't acting to get rich because I knew you weren't going to do that. Yeah. I did it because I love it. And then to be awarded some awards for it, it was just icing on the cake.
It was icing on the cake, but it wasn't like you didn't need it. You didn't, I
didn't need it. I did want to be recognized.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
And when it finally happened, did you get the sense of like, okay, this is what I was hoping for?
Sort of.
Yeah.
I was thrilled to win. I was nominated for a Tony at 50, but I didn't win. But at 60, I won Best Supporting Actress in Justified, and it was a great joy, and it really, changed things for me.
Your characters over the years have been really interesting. You know, I mean, just to mention a few of them, Max Bennett in Justified, the matriarch of a crime family. Ruth, of course, on the Sticky, who's masterminding this maple syrup heist. Ruth on the Good Wife, who the political strategist, or then on The Americans, you play a literal Soviet spy. Is there something to a sneakiness, a deceptiveness that you're attracted to in the characters?
Well,
that you
I
play?
like complicated things, and I like flawed people.
Tell me more.
I think it's more fun. I like to know psychologically why. I worked in an insane asylum for criminally insane men when I was 16 and 17, teaching drama.
Did you?
And it really opened my mind. And all men in maximum security unit, rapists and murderers mostly, and to see that they're just one step different than me. And I also felt that way when I would take my unemployment checks and go and stand in a line for checks cashed and think this makes us all the same. We're all in this place to get some cash because we all need it. And there was not one person who was different from me. I like thinking that way.
Yeah. Where'd you learn that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It really came to me at that checks cash place that I used to go to.
Yeah, because you'd see them and you'd think.
Yeah. And I knew the people. I knew all the people at all the cashiers.
You know, one of the articles I was reading to get ready for this was about how Margo Martindale doesn't like thinking about her characters as evil, or she doesn't like it when people refer to, I think that was what the article said, doesn't refer to them as evil. And I think I'm beginning to understand why.
Well, if you think you're evil,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody who's evil thinks they're evil, do they?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I think all the parts I've played, they've all been good people who needed something desperately. Claudia in The Americans may be a different story because she did slice someone's throat and watch him bleed out and tell him why she wanted to kill him.
But she was going for her government. She was trying to do the right thing for her.
I was a great soldier.
You were.
Great soldier.
But I understand. There's a I don't know. I'm just if I'm not making any sense, it's just because I'm still kind of struck by that earlier story. Because what I'm hearing is that, like, you were in this back brace and people would say, oh, I'm sorry. And you were like, don't be sorry. Like, that's not what empathy really is. That's sympathy. Empathy is trying to get in my shoes. And then you're going to get your checks cashed or working at it. What were you doing at the asylum? You were teaching at the asylum?
Teaching drama. Because, you see, I discovered drama in high school, and I decided I knew everything about it.
Yeah. How was teaching drama in there?
Fabulous.
Yeah?
They were real good.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
Well, you know, they all really wanted to act. And I had found a one-act play. I was looking for a small, short play with... I knew nothing about drama except that I'd done a play. Mm-hmm. I was looking for a short play that was all men that I could direct. Mm-hmm. And I found a play by somebody named Eugene O'Neill mm-hmm. called In the Zone. And it was about a murder that took place on a submarine. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did.
I'm sure they loved it.
They did.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure they're still talking about it.
And there was a guy that I asked to, because he played the guitar, I asked him if he would, you know, for between acts, mm-hmm. Play the guitar. And I said, and choose whatever song you want. And he sang, Born to Lose. I live my life. Yeah. It was a unique experience. I did it for 2 summers.
What I'm hearing is that the connector in all these stories you're telling me is that sense of empathy, whether it's the characters that you choose, whether it's the work you were doing back then, you know?
Thank you, Doctor. I think you might be right.
Am I?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, not that I ever thought about it, you know, not really.
Well, You just wait till you get my bill. You'll be thinking about it then. I'll tell you that much. I tell you where I wonder if you can relate to the character is when you played the version of yourself on BoJack Horseman. So for people who don't know, you appear on BoJack Horseman, one of the great animated series, playing yourself, or a version of yourself referred to as esteemed character actress Margo Martindale. The difference between you and that character, I'm guessing, is that she's been charged with 7 counts of homicide, among other crimes. Tell me a little bit about how that happened. Will Arnett had something to do with you doing that role?
Yeah, Canadian Will Arnett. We were doing The Millers, and I was learning how to do a 4-camera comedy.
Yeah.
And Will and I were, he was playing my son, and I was also promoting August Osage County, which was a big promotion of the movie. And I said, Will, he said, you're going to come do my cartoon. I said, I don't have time. I mean, I got to learn this show, and I can't do it. He said, well, you're going to. I said, no, I'm not. I swear to you, I cannot do it. He said, the part is Margo Martindale, character actress. Who do you think's going to play it?
Tell me a little bit about playing it. What do you remember? What did you like about it?
Oh, it just, I did it honestly remotely. I think I only did it in the studio with anybody once or twice. So, they'd call me up, and I'd do it. I'd get the lines and record it. I know that one time that my husband and I were in Los Angeles for the Emmys, not the first one, but maybe a second one, and Bill had gone to look at my Wikipedia page as we were, packing up and getting ready to go home to see if it was on there yet. Sweet. And it said, Margo Martindale has spent the last year in prison for armed robbery. And it was on my Wikipedia.
What?
Yeah. So my publicist at the time had it removed very quickly.
Was that a BoJack fan who put that in?
I have no idea. Possibly, but, it sounded real to me.
Wasn't me.
No, okay.
Don't look at me. Before you're really fun to talk to. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, you must have learned a thing or two about all these roles, maybe about how to, move your way around the law. Get what you need to do. Do you think you might have what it takes to pull off a heist like Ruth does in The Sticky?
No, not on any level. I could never steal anything, and I'm not that clever.
I don't know about that. I believe the first one, but I don't know if I believe the second one. Lovely to meet you.
You too,
Let's
Tom.
get you back home for Thanksgiving.
Very nice.
Really?
Thank you so much.
Where are you going for Thanksgiving?
Connecticut, Kent, Connecticut.
What's in the middle of the table?
My husband is doing all of the cooking. It's the only day he cooks everything, and we have a group of actors, a group of people that we all waited tables together for years and years. I mean, we all waited tables together for a number of years, and we have kept our tradition of eating together on Thanksgiving. So it's a real joyous occasion for us.
That's a beautiful story. Yeah. Geez, it keeps you grounded too.
Yep, sure does.
That's beautiful. Well,
Sure
Mike, lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.